The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network. We have breaking news. Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right. They are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for 20% off and free shipping. It's time to tame your mane. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all your stubble and trouble with Manscaped Pro Beard Kit. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. That's right, face grooming doesn't need to be hard. Get 20 different beard lengths in just one guard. Plus, it's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower to avoid all that hair in the sink. The titanium-coated T-blade is tough on hair but smooth on your face, leading to single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. So make sure you get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com by using the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Once again, that's 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at manscaped.com.
All right, fans, we are back. Welcome back for episode 22 of Combat Deviants live here on Belly Up Sports Network. We are kicking things off with our first guest of the evening, the gentleman, Mr. Joshua Hill. How you feeling this afternoon, my friend?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Just getting it all started, getting everything situated. Eddie, you got your technical difficulties situated now.
Hang on, I'm trying to find somewhere that's good Wi-Fi. This Wi-Fi sucks here.
Get that completely.
I can't hear. I can't hear nothing.
You guys hear me?
No, I can hear you.
So hold on. I'll be ready.
I love.
Is that better?
You gotta love technical difficulties. But Josh, first and foremost, appreciate the time tonight. Big fight coming up for you in a few weeks here for Bellator. Was that 292 now? You're getting close to 300 now, right?
Yep, 292. Yeah, getting there.
How excited are you for this one, my friend?
I'm pumped, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to get back in there. It's a matchup that I like. It's a home. It's on his home field, and I like kind of being the heel coming in. And yeah, man, I look forward to get back in the cage. It's been a while.
It's always fun playing the spoiler. Is it less stress than being the hometown kid, going in the enemy territory and just being the villain?
It's different. I prefer going elsewhere as it just feels like I'm going like off to war type, feeling, and you get into that groove. I have fought at home in front of a home crowd, and it is nice as well because everybody's there backing you and cheering you on. Either or is cool, but yeah, it is nice to kind of be the spoiler and try and silence the crowd.
Is definitely a fun one. Now, obviously, you guys just had Fedor's retirement fight there. Were you able to catch any of that, or were you excited about any of that? How was that for a send off as well?
I thought it was great. I mean, I knew, I think Fedor's, to me, he's the best heavyweight ever. Huge fan. I remember, obviously his Pride days were the best, and I remember I went to a Strike Force once. I don't even know if I was fighting it. I was just a fan, and I saw him fight live, which was great. And then, I knew Bader would be a tough matchup for him. But it's all good. Win, lose, or draw, it didn't really matter. It was like his last fight, and I really like what they did afterwards, bringing in all like the OG guys and pioneers, and giving them a send off. That was
Scott did a great job of that. Really, like it didn't matter promotion or whatever. But I think that's the one thing that Scott has probably done the better job of the bigger promotions at just really recognizing things and doing things the right way. Where when things go out in the UFC and someone goes out, that other people are kind of kept away because they're not really a part of the promotion, or there's been bad blood. I really thought Scott went above and beyond, and I mean, everybody. I mean, you had Rampage there. You had Chuck there. I mean, you're seeing him get that group together afterwards was just. I think it was just a special moment in combat sports. Regardless if you feel Fedor is one of those guys that should be in the heavyweight GOAT conversation or not, like it was one of those things where that was a proper send off to, regardless, a pioneer in combat sports. The end.
Yeah, 100%. It was, it's about the fighter, right? So like make it about the fighter, and I think that's what I think Coker does really well. Kind of puts them on a pedestal. And yeah, to have all the guys come and kind of like send off, carry him on to retirement, like with all of them, and those are the OG guys that they helped build the sport, right? And it's what it is today. So it's cool to see that.
It's one of those rare moments you get to see, and I guess us who've kind of watched those guys kind of go through, their prime, their twilight, and then get to see them in their retirement. It's a unique moment for us because it's officially passing the guard off to this generation of combat sport athletes. So it's definitely a changing time in combat sports in general, if you really think about it as a total.
Oh man, I every day there's somebody from like my generation or slightly earlier than mine is retiring. You know what I mean? This year or last year alone, you had I don't know how many big names. Fedor, obviously, you had Frankie retire, you had Aldo retire, you had Cerrone retire. There's been and then Glover now, and somebody else just retired too. I can't remember who, but yeah, there's been a huge amount of big names that have been around the sport for 10 years plus that are all laying the gloves down and moving on, to the next phase of their life. And yeah, you're seeing like the young up and comers come take over now. And yeah, it's weird because like, I'm getting up there too. So I'm like, I'm seeing that as well. And it's just like, I remember being the rookie in the room, and it didn't seem like it was that long ago, but time goes by fast, man.
Yeah, I mean, and then you see all kinds of stuff going on. Like, I mean, you just remember like 5 years ago, like, UFC was pushing like Paige Van Zandt and all those type of guys. And now like Paige hasn't even had a BKFC fight, and she's looking like more of a wrestler or a content creator than a fighter. I mean, if someone would have told me that 5 years ago after she beat what was it, when she beat Felice Herring, I was like, all right, she's on that track after the Ultimate Fighter. She's on the way going up, and then just to see the complete opposite now, like even Ronda, I don't think anyone thought that after those two losses she would have just disappeared and then went to wrestling.
Yeah,
and just been fine with that. Everyone you felt the kind of story eventually there'd be a comeback, but I just think there was a break between the fandom of MMA and Ronda and that nature where that couldn't happen. So you're starting to see a lot of athletes go, a lot of the MMA fighters go to these other avenues. You're even seeing some, obviously what Francis Ngannou just did, and obviously more than likely he's going to be doing the next handful of fights, particularly in boxing. You see some of these guys who are going over to bare knuckle boxing. Obviously, tonight BKFC has a big event going on, but a bunch of former, MMA fighters and UFC fighters, etc. You got the former Bellator veteran Mike Richmond headlining that one. That should be a fun one, right?
Yeah. And I think you're seeing a lot of these guys go elsewhere just because
Money and
right?
opportunity.
Money, man. Like
it's the opportunity too. Like I think like Mike Richmond probably would have been fine continuing like making good money on the middle of Bellator cards for the last 5 years, but he's now been the main event or whatever just about I think all the last 2 years over at BKFC. And yeah, the money's probably a little bit better now, obviously being at the top of the thing. But when you're in the middle of the pack in a place like that, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. You've been in big promotions before. You know, you fought for World Series of Fighting. You've been on Tough. You've been here in Bellator. You know what I mean? Like how you could be probably better than half the guys in your division, but you're getting buried on some of these cards and getting tough matchups and not being seen by the millions and millions of viewers that the promotion brings that you fight for. And sometimes it's a moot point to have these fights because you're not getting the viewership, you're not getting higher up on the card, and it's sometimes that's probably the hardest thing that I think a lot of fighters have to go through. Not the opportunities, it's getting seen.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. And in today's day and age, unfortunately, it's all about followers and viewers and all that bullshit. You know what I mean? So
Jake Paul just proved it, did he not? The Jake Paul did basically just not prove that to us. It's about viewers.
He did. Yeah. He's
if he beats Tyson Fury, or you know, if he beats the Fury brother over here, he's gonna get a WBC ranking from that. And he beat basically 3 broken down MMA fighters on the way. Stop playing.
Yeah, he's a guy that, like, he grew on me big time, and definitely I like what he's doing. He did it smart, but he's actually putting in the work. You can tell the guy's got skill. You know what I mean? The guy's an athlete. The guy's training hard.
You know, it's like that's the see. I think my biggest thing with him in general has always been is that he's fighting guys that we all kind of feel are welterweights, right?
Yeah, well, except for Anderson,
with the exception of the Anderson Silva fight, obviously, but he spent most of his time at middleweight. Only later in his career did he fight at light heavyweight. It was just basically him not cutting weight, right. So, and then my thing is, you look at it, he basically fights at 200 pounds. My biggest thing was either go fight boxers that fight at 200 pounds or go and fight some of these heavier weight MMA guys that you want to box.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with this one, with the Fury, like, he's actually fighting, you know, a boxer, like a guy that is not an MMA fighter prior, and he's undefeated. He hasn't beat anybody good, but he's got a big name behind him because his brother. So I think that's a good matchup for him. And if he beats him, then, you know, I don't know how many times people can keep counting him out and talking shit about him. He just keeps proving them wrong. So it's I give the guy credit.
Listen, I'm not doubting that he has not put the work in and things of that nature. He's also kind of built his reputation off of inferior guys, or guys where he has age, speed, size, weight advantage. It's not really like if he's over here, you know, but you know, if he actually took the Hasim Rahman Jr. fight, would have been a great opportunity to see what was what there. We also have you got Tommy Morrison's kid. He fights around 200 pounds. You could have boxed him. There's a name. Like you could fight. He'd find guys that are within that without going after some of the older UFC welterweights for that, middleweights, whatever. But like, don't be fighting guys on their back end. Like make the matchups that are kind of interesting and things of that nature. Like even when we're talking about BKFC, Bellator, whatever, it's not so far going. Like you could see where it's going. Like when he made the match with Ben Askren, I'm like, he's boxing a wrestler that just got off a hip surgery. Are we having this conversation? And then after
that was, I knew that was not going to end well.
Like, I mean, granted, we didn't see him putting Woodley out the second time, but everyone's sitting there saying after these last 2 fights, oh, it looks rigged. It looks rigged. Now we're having this conversation again.
Yeah.
So it's like he's bringing things in.
But I guess
I wonder how much it hurt Dana to sign that endorsement deal with Logan. I wonder how much it hurt him to do that. Like, pride.
Yeah, I don't understand. Because, like, you know, got one brother that just rips Dana, talks shit, you know, calls him out for all the fighter pay and all that shit, and then you got another one signing an endorsement deal. So I didn't know. I don't know. I guess they can separate the business between the brotherhood there, but yeah, it was weird to see that happen.
Good job of separating those two things, especially when it comes to that to that green paper. So let's be honest there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I
For
mean, I
sure.
think
Yeah,
it's a good
that's like
thing.
just like Vince McMahon back in the day.
Dude, he's impervious at this point in time, is he not? After what happened in New Year's, you know, we're his only
Oh,
means of
with the
punishment.
slap.
We're his only means of
Yeah.
punishment.
Yeah. Oh my God. That
What do you think
the
about
whole
the slap
the whole
boxing?
slap fighting thing.
Yeah, I was gonna. What do you feel about that one, brother?
Oh, dude, I fucking hate it,
I
man.
hate it.
I think
I
it's
feel like that isn't that
I
what we
hate
did
it.
when we had too much testosterone. We're trying to show how tough we were. We were like 15 when we were in high school.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody's got a little drunk for the first time and tries to be tough guy. But that's exactly what it is. It's two guys standing there who can take a shot better, and they're like, oh, there's skill, there's technique. Sure, yeah, I'm sure there's technique to throw a
There is
proper slap,
none.
but there's no defense. You're just
This
taking.
is your
You
technique.
know what I mean?
You're
You're
really a defensive person. It's all about who has the chin.
it's just
That's
brain
all it
damage.
is.
That, yeah, but it just eventually it's going to go anyway because you're just taking shots, right? So it's just like they have positions for the people called head catchers, for fuck's sakes, where it's like you're catching
Forrest
unconscious guys.
Griffin's
That's
one
your
of them.
job, right? So
Forrest Griffin's one of them.
yeah, it's like, man, I hate it, dude. I think it's horrible. I hope it fails. I you know what? I hate seeing it. Like if I want to check out a fights or whatever the UFC is putting on like their Instagram and I see ads for slap fighting, I'm like, have your own thing. Like, don't mix it in with this. That's MMA. This is circus to me. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Coming from the guy said he hated the circus acts, right? He hated the circus fights, right? It's the same dude.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The hypocrisy. Yeah, exactly.
Like there's so much, dude. There's so much
No.
other stuff that you could invest into UFC, into combat sports. There, he's back. He fixed it.
Ha! The gremlin's here, bro. I had to wait till after midnight, apparently. Come on. What's going on, Hill?
We were just making fun of Dana White slap fighting.
Well, hold on, Josh, hold on a second.
He's gonna have to bring it back.
I'm gonna have to rewind a second here. Ultimate Fighter season 18, 2013, bro. Does it seem like it was that long ago? Like, bro, that was 10 years ago. I remember watching you on the couch.
Dude, it was. I was just talking about with somebody about that the other day, and it feels like probably 3 or 4 years ago. To be honest, man, I can't believe it's been a decade, and like it's crazy.
Man, and that whole season, you got through so many tough opponents. That was such a controversial season. But the best part about it all is, for me at least, and for a lot of people out there, it was really a transitioning point for a lot of new fans that were coming in. There was the Ronda Rousey rave. There was the Conor McGregor rave coming through. And it really brought through a whole new generation of new fans. And you were right there with all of us on that season. I remember specifically you were going and sports psychology was a big thing for you. And you've come a real far way with you're actually a sports psychologist now, right?
Well, I'm not a licensed sports psychologist. I can't call myself that, but I'm a mental performance coach. Yeah, that's what I'm doing as kind of a part-time gig on the side other than fighting. Yeah.
Between that, you got a little girl now, I see, who's like, I see all like your horror movie things. She's the Chucky to your Freddy Krueger. You're Freddy Krueger and she's a little Chucky, man. It's so adorable, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, she's my little dream demon, for sure. Keeps me going.
But just to bring Steve back into it, and I'll get back to some of my questions here. I wanted to tell Steve that your uncle, Steve, guess where he gets his nickname from? Just take a wild guess.
God.
Josh, where's your nickname come
from? It comes from my great uncle. He was a professional wrestler back in the WWE way back in the day. And I went by a whole bunch of different names and monikers, but It's probably his most famous one. He was part of the Valiant brothers, and he was Gentleman Jerry Valiant. And at one point, they were the tag team champs.
So also, your Nana is pretty badass too, because I saw a photo where she's hanging out with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, I believe. Right?
Damn, you did some digging on me, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she was down. They used to go to Florida every year.
Well, wait, what did you say?
Yeah,
So the whole thing with Steve is he's a big WWE fan. Oh, yeah. I was a huge WWF fan. So to see all of these old photos of your grandma, man, I'm jealous. I got a story for you, though. We got something in common here, Josh. My grandfather met Hulk Hogan.
What's up?
All right. What did your grandma say about Hulk Hogan? What was your grandma's experience with Hulk Hogan? Because I'll tell you what my grandfather told me about Hulk.
Okay. Well, with my Nana's experience, she just said that they were both super nice, him and Macho, and that was it. And my great uncle actually had a match with Hogan. It was towards the end of his career, and Hogan was coming up. Yeah, it was like 19. I don't want to say like 82 or something like that, but yeah, it was when Hogan was just coming up. Yeah.
Before I tell you the story about my grandfather, how was that for you as a child growing up? Because me, Steve, you, Ronda Rousey, I read her book. We all had the beat up dolls. Remember the stuffed pillow dolls? We'd throw off the couch.
The WWE superstar dolls. There's you only can get 5 of
Jake
them.
the Snake one. I had a Jake the Snake one.
So for you as a kid being kind of in that circle, did you like kind of feel special? Like this was your destiny to do something with combat sports? Like, was that the opening door for it? Or were you kind of just like, oh, that's cool? Like, what was it like for you as a child with being in that universe?
It wasn't like that for me because I was really close to my grandparents, but it was my great uncle, the wrestler, he ended up living in Indianapolis for the rest of his life. So I wasn't close with him. I only met him a few times. But I was always a huge fan of wrestling. And then that later changed to, when I found MMA and I loved that. But I've just been I love, competition. I love combative sports. And I knew once my hockey career was done, I was like, I need something that like involves hitting people, as bad as that sounds, because I just need something to like keep me going and get the aggression out and have a sense of competition. So that's where I found MMA.
So of course you had to do the taboo thing and also be a Canadian and attempt to play hockey, right?
Yeah.
Oh, bro,
I mean, dude, don't get me wrong. I used to have equipment. We turned the old tennis courts by where we live into hockey rinks, so I know exactly what it is, dude. Nice. We're Philly, man. We bleed hockey too.
We're Philly, man. We're Philly, bro. I feel like
Philly, nice, man. Philly's my favorite team.
Oh, you're a Flyers fan.
I'm a huge Flyers fan, bro. Oh, even though they're not doing too well this year, but I've been a diehard fan since I was like 10.
My son just went this past Sunday.
Oh, sick! I've been to one game out there. I want to come back out.
So
yeah, well, I mean, we got the coach now. Just you got to rebuild the culture of the team.
So let me get back into where I was going.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Let me get back into where I was going. Okay. Let me get back into where I was going with all this. For you growing up as a child, seeing Nana with Hulk Hogan and everything, I got to tell you the story about my grandfather. He says, allegedly, all right, my grandfather's like, you ever seen the movie Big Fish? It's like that. So he says he went to a McDonald's, right? And he's walking in, and he sees this big macho dude walk out, and his wife's behind him, and he doesn't hold the door for his wife. He looks up. He holds the door for the guy's wife. It's Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan didn't hold the door for his own wife. So that was my grandfather's. And I was just, the whole time, I was like, that was my idol. And I was like, Pop, you held the door for Hulk Hogan's. So immediately, Hulk Hogan was no longer my idol. It was my grandfather. I just thought that was so weird that Hulk Hogan didn't hold the door. Or like, why would you make that story up? But yeah. So we got that in common there with Hulk Hogan, man. But
That's what.
going back to the match with Hulk Hogan and your great uncle, what was the you said Hulk Hogan was a young guy at that point. This is before the Andre the Giant thing, I'm guessing, right?
This was before then, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 82,
Before
yeah.
Hogan kind of broke out into Hulkamania.
So yeah, man, Hulk Hogan, such a legend, NWO, all that. You have all this in your back history, and then you go on the Ultimate Fighter. But you've traveled all around the world. You've been to Russia, Romania. You've been all these things. You've done, sports psychology, and also the one thing you have all these pluses, right? All these pluses I'm naming off, right? But you have one thing negative about you, bro.
What's that?
You go against community
What's that?
guidelines, apparently. You go against community guidelines, apparently. Spreading false information on Instagram. What's up with that?
That's apparently what I do. My government hates me, I guess, because I call it out as I see it, and how corrupt our Canadian government is with Justin Trudeau at the helm, and really driving things into the shitter, man.
But like, I look at your Instagram, it's like all positive things. An inspirational video about ego and Dominic Cruz, Uriah Faber wishing you luck, and I'm like, where's this false information? It's like pictures of your daughter and stuff. Like, what did you post, bro? Tell us, what did you post, man, to get this? Like, they're on you. Every time I was trying to tag you, it was like, this guy is spreading false information, going against community guidelines. Watch out. I was like, his name's the Gentleman.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do, bro?
I'm surprised. Like, I've been shadow banned on there a couple times now, and everybody, they try to add me as like a follow, and it's like a warning: do you want to follow this person? And but I just post things like that are factual of the government, and usually it's a repost too. So for them to ban me was pretty. I was surprised, but I think it's kind of going away now. At least last time I checked, but I don't know if I'm still shadow banned at the bottom of the barrel.
So do you have performance anxiety when you post on Instagram now?
No, I could give a shit, dude. I could really care less.
All right. Now that I'm here, you guys are talking about slap fighting. Steve, pick back up where you guys left off. I had to jump in.
We're just making fun of it.
I had to jump in with some sparks, some fire. You guys are talking about the slap fighting. I'll never watch it, man. I'll never watch it.
Check your messages so you can load that and we can talk about that.
What is it? The cowboy on Pornhub?
Oh my God. No. Eddie, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, all right.
The last few minutes before we let you go and let you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Obviously, like we were talking about your fight, things of that nature. What are your plans for 2023 as far as your actual career goes inside the cage? Are you trying to make a run at this belt finally, dude?
I mean, yeah, ideally that'd be great. You know what I mean? But I'm that's quite a ways for me right now. I'm coming off a loss last year, so it's probably I'd have to probably put 3 wins together, something like that, to get back in that running. But yeah,
have a kick ass year, right? That's the plan, right?
Yeah, for sure. So this fight is the first step, to get back in the win column and get
obviously
another one under the belt.
And then, you're gonna have to put some wins together. But what are some fun things you wouldn't want to do along the way? Obviously, you guys have been doing a lot of fun stuff with the tournaments and stuff like that in different weight classes. You've been fighting all over the world. Like what are some goals outside of just winning that you have in 2023? Do you want to fight somewhere specific? Do you want to fight someone specific? What are some of those goals you have lined up for this year for you?
My goals are, I'm 36 now. I've been at it for a long time. Like you said, the Ultimate Fighter was a decade ago, which is crazy to me. But I want to just make as make as much money as I can while I can. I want to travel to cool spots to fight at. That would, they're going to Hawaii again in April. I missed the boat on that one last year because I got sick with COVID right before. So that would be cool one, Hawaii or something like that. If they go, France or something cool, something different that I wouldn't usually go to. So yeah,
That would be cool,
make
right?
as much dough as I can. Travel to cool places and just man, just enjoy this. These next little bit because I'm like I said, I'm 36. I'm not gonna be fighting in my 40s. I'll tell you that right now. So enjoy this last few years,
Man,
That sounds like how you want to do it. Like whatever the future holds for you, the future holds for you. Have some fun fights. Fight in some cool places. Like you're sitting there saying, have some places overseas. You're saying they're saying France, things like that. Like that's something.
Yeah.
I think that a lot more fighters should have goals like that. Like, yeah, obviously you'd want to put 3-4 wins together, not knocking them out in the first round, submitting them in the first round, to be able to put something together when that title fight. But like we were talking, it's not always that easy to put it all together and then get the eyes on you to be able to kind of move it up the way you like it to. The promotion typically always looks after the handful of guys that they always have. It doesn't matter which the letters on the promotion, if it's PFL, if it's World Series of Fighting, if it's UFC, if it's Bellator, everyone has their favorites. I don't care what anyone says. That's the way the sport's made. But like I said, I like those things. Hopefully, we can see you get some fun matchups, get some fun fights that go into your favor. Hopefully, you can be able to get that title fight put together. But as we get ready to wrap it up, my friend, well, what I'd like to typically do is throw the proverbial microphone over you. Anyone you would like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot out the social media sites, any sponsors you might have, anything you want to let the people know outside of combat sports you're working with. The time is yours, my friend.
Josh, wait.
Oh, wait.
Very important message.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you have for, the kids out there. I remember being in middle school, getting bullied and stuff like that, and being afraid to go to school. And you being a fighter, you weren't afraid of getting hurt. You weren't afraid of stepping in the ring. And now that you've come so far, you've learned so much. What information can you give to somebody that is having anxiety about showing up to something?
If it's somebody's, if you're hesitant on doing something for the first time, and just you're a little bit insecure, but I would say just go and watch first. That would be the best thing. Just kind of dip your toes in there first. Yeah, I've had that with students too, where they've come to a jiu-jitsu class and they kind of were too scared to kind of jump in. So they watched the first class and they saw how much fun people were having, and then they came back and they tried it themselves. So I would say I would suggest that just kind of get around the environment first and get comfortable with it, and then jump in if you're having some hesitancy.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, as Steve says, Mike's all yours now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, I have too many training partners and coaches and a million people to thank. So thanks for all of my guys around me. And yeah, thanks, guys, for having me on. March 10th in San Jose at the Shark Tank. I'm going to put on a nice performance to get a nice W.
And really quick, where can people find you on social media?
We lose him again.
Where can people find you on social media if they want to follow along?
At Gentleman J Hill on Instagram and Facebook. I don't have Twitter. And yeah, see if you can find me on Instagram if I'm not shadow banned or whatnot. I always tell that to people. It might be hard to find me, but
you gotta love it. Social media.
All right,
appreciate the time, Josh. Best of skill, my friend. We'll definitely catch up more in the future, and hopefully you get that win, and we can have some more fun talks about what's going to be coming forward for you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right, everyone. I think there was a little lag there.
Hill.
I think there was a little lag there because he was in Canada, right?
Nah, yeah, that's why he was looking for better internet. That's why he moved outside.
Oh, all right.
But with with no further ado, let's bring in Miss Peralta. Helen, how are we doing this afternoon, this evening?
Pretty good. Just a little sore. How are you guys?
We're hanging in there. We're just having some fun. We just got done talking to Josh. We were just about to make fun of Greg Hardy getting face painted in his debut, because we just had Josh on here a few weeks ago.
I missed that one.
Helen,
Yes,
you
sir.
did sound really crazy since the last time we've spoken.
What'd she do?
You've
Oh,
done
what did I
something
do?
crazy, man. I saw you go shirtless.
Oh
man.
yeah, her way in.
I thought
I'm
you
not-
were topless.
Yeah, it wasn't topless though. I had as much covering as my opponent did. Think about it.
I gotta give you props for that, man. I was like, Steve, like
She said, "Well, no." When we had her on, she said, "She said, don't miss weigh-in." She's like,
Yeah.
"It's a message for everybody." So,
Oh man,
she did
can we
disappoint.
tell Helen? Can we tell Helen what happened after
Oh,
our
man.
interview with her, Steve?
Yo,
What happened?
Please.
Yo, we're
It
not
has to
allowed
do
to
with
talk to
Misfit.
Christina.
No. Let him talk. You
So,
stop. Time
last-
out for you. Talk.
Last time you were on, right? You said you had a great quote. It went, "I am the only one to have a win over Misfit Ferrer, the now champion for BKFC." So
Oh, yeah, sure.
we were trying to get her on the show to respond to what you had to say. Now, Steve, what exactly happened here? And I love Misfit, but this is what makes things exciting. This is what Misfit didn't
Of course.
understand. She got a little upset. Steve, get over here and tell everyone what happened.
Come on,
when you
Steve.
messaged
Speak
her.
up. Speak up,
Oh,
bro.
man. Oh no, dude! Like I was in between talking to her and talking like her manager, her girlfriend.
You ready for this, Helen? You ready for this?
I'm always
Yeah.
ready for Misfit. What is it? Misfit now? She missed a bit? Or is it Misfit? I'm kidding. I know what it is. I know what it is.
Misunderstood.
Basically, she just basically said, "Oh, well, you had Helen on, so you know, there's no need to have me on anymore." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I love
So
that.
basically,
I love it.
We
That
had
made
Helen
my
on. We're not
night.
allowed to talk to you. Whatever.
I
Are you
love it.
serious?
Oh,
Like, stop.
you just
And
made my
then-
night. You just
Well,
made
no,
my night.
the funny thing is, like, her manager reached out to me, I guess, before the last fight and was like, "Oh, do you want to talk?" I'm like, "Why?" She told me she didn't want to talk to us anymore. What do you mean? What? What are you talking about? Oh, I'll talk to her. All right. Well, she's about to fight again, and she hasn't gotten back to me. So, I mean, listen, you know, much respect to what she's doing in the cage. Props to that. I don't know why you're fighting Beck this next fight, but hey.
Because there's nobody else. Because you know what? They fucking slept on me. I kept asking for the fight. The moment I became an independent contractor, which I had to I took a lot of heat by doing that. After the Ultimate Fighter, in order for me to be an independent contractor,
You had to wait. You had to wait.
I had to not only did I have to wait, I had to make a very difficult decision, because some people think making it to the UFC is it. I didn't like some of the things that were in front of me, and now a lot of older fighters are bringing it up. I don't want to bring it up again, because I do respect the UFC and I do want to fight there. I just didn't like what I was offered, whatever. But I made myself free, and I've been harassing everybody. I harassed everybody for about 2 weeks, and nobody got back to me. The moment I signed with PFL, then they contact me, and I had already signed with PFL. I'm like, fuck. Because like for years, I have been making myself available, but then that means I'm not signing exclusive contract. And I just wanted that one fight back. Like,
I can
I'm not
relate.
even want it back because I won, but like I wanted people to see the rematch, you know?
So,
But I wanted them to see it on my terms, on our terms as fighter, not the promotion and the little fucking games they're playing.
This sounds a lot like when you're single for a long time, then you get a girlfriend, and then you get all these girls in your DM. That's like,
yeah, they're like, hey, what are you doing tonight?
but let me say this. Even though Misfit was so upset that we had you on, and she was a little upset because I've been friends with her for a long time, but this is
like, yo, we've interviewed,
my
but
job.
here's the thing, we've interviewed both of them all
It's-
throughout their careers.
It's
and
your
Helen was
job.
so respectful.
I'm not
You were
playing
so
like, oh, like I'm only gonna talk to you, or I'm not gonna talk to any of your opponents. That's not how media works.
Not
That's
at all.
not how media works. Love her to death. hope she still does well with her career. I just don't play that game. I'll never play that game. I'm not going to stoop to that level. That's not how
You
this
just
works.
have to learn. You have to learn how to deal with stupid. That's the one thing about Misfit. I love everything. She's an amazing fighter, but she's fucking stupid. He doesn't get how things work. We need this. We need this back and forth because without it, there's no interest. That's how this fucking generation works. They have very short attention fucking span, and if there's no drama, they won't fucking tune in. So you need it, okay? And that's why I always root for her. I want to be her only loss. I want her to beat everybody. Every time she fights, my fingers are crossed because if she loses, she fucks it up for me too.
So I guess you're happy they gave her back because you know how that fight's.
Of course, I know exactly. I know the results, and I'm so glad that's what it is.
And listen, on the other side, that's not a diss to Beck either. I guess if you know she's a name. She has been a name for some time. But I mean, when's the last big win that Beck's have?
My respect for Beck comes from the fact that she did it when I thought it was fucking crazy. She did it when nobody else was doing it. So you have to give her respect for that. She was the first one to say, okay, I'll do it. If somebody would ask me, I would say, no, that's fucking crazy. I wouldn't do it. So I'm going to be honest on that. Other than that, her opponents, look at her opponents. They were all people who never fought professionally. Okay,
it's so funny you say that. So I was talking with Eddie off air. I had a guy who I used to interview real early on when I first started doing my podcast. He's actually now running for city councilman in my city. So I was talking to him like I went to go sign his petition and so he has his names and all that stuff like that. So we were talking. I was like, and I asked him, I was like, yo, if BKFC was around when you were fighting, would you have done that? He was like, fuck no. He's like, look, I love fighting, but them motherfuckers are crazy on another level.
It looks very crazy. I would not have done it if it wasn't because she kind of paved the way, So you have to give credit what it's due. But when you look at her opponents, though, like her title defense, like, it is what it is. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people involved, so you can't blame her either. But at the same time, it was all set up for her to win because she came from the UFC, and that's what BKFC do. And that's why I'm not fighting Christine, because they only want to pay attention and put money down behind people who came from the UFC. It's like, listen, when I first signed up, you told me that if I went out there and I fought my ass off, you were going to fucking promote me. Oh, you don't have enough followers. You want to know why? Because it's not my personality to be fake, and social media is fucking fake. You are the promoter. Promote me, bitch. That's your fucking job. It's in the title. You want to promote big tits? Guess what? Big tits don't need to be promoted. They're already awesome. I love tits. Everybody fucking does. You're lazy. If you're promoting tits, you're lazy because tits are awesome and everybody loves them already.
That's what you need to do. You just need to have a couple girls as you're training around, just walking around in bikinis.
And I don't have tits. That's what was the whole thing I did.
All right, so you don't have it, so you bring it to the table.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing I did without coming out.
Bimbos walking around your gym in bikinis.
Dude, when I came out topless, it was supposed to be a big diss to the whole community, but nobody got it. It wasn't about me showing my tits. I don't have tits. I've been saying that from day one.
I just got it now. I just got it now. Oh my god, yo! I just got it. Holy shit.
It takes a little while. I'm weird.
This is the exact argument, though, that Misfit has had, and this is why she's taking the fight with Beck. But let me rewind really quick and just replay a clip from September 18th, 2022, with you discussing this exact thing.
It's a huge differentiation. And yes, I did make it clear. I commented, I let them know I wanted to do it. I know they're all about views and, flashing tits after and all this WWE stuff. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, but I can fight. So if they want a real fight give the champion a real challenge, I'm open for it. I think I want to do it as a fan mostly because I love the first fight so much. And I also feel like Christine has grown so much and she's so much better now. I think she deserves the opportunity to show the world that she's the best. So by putting together a rematch, you're not only to satisfy me as a fan or the fan that want to see the fight, you're also showing respect for your champion by giving her the opportunity to get that back, that one back. It was a close fight, and I think she deserves a rematch.
So that's so respectful, right? And we wanted to have
so.
her back on. And like you were saying, this is what makes people want to tune in. We don't have face tattoos. We don't go on TikTok, but I will come on a podcast. I will make a statement, and we want to get in there and promote. And Misfit didn't understand, and she started yelling and fighting with everyone. And she got really mad at me, saying, "Evil E, I love you because you're a real one." Me and Steve are trying to explain that this is our job.
I'm not arguing with people like that. You can go ahead and try to go down.
You can't argue with people like that, dude. It's not fair because she's retarded. So if you argue with her, you're being mean. If you argue with someone who's retarded, you're just being mean. You have to leave a space for them. We're in the age where everybody that doesn't fit and doesn't measure up, we're supposed to lift them up. So don't argue with someone that's retarded. Make them feel better about being fucking stupid. That's America now with all this, left-wing bullshit.
That's America now.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
That's America now.
Meanwhile, my girl's over here in the bed cracking up because she's because she knows exactly what we're talking about. Just but it's not just what we're talking about when it comes to combat sports or what. We have to deal with so many stupid people in life in general. We just have to numb ourselves and just let them be who they are and just go about our daily business. That's all you got to do.
Of course, you let things go. But you know what? The reason why Christine gets so mad when you mention me is because every time somebody wants to praise her for her strength and her power, they see that one next to her record, and all she can think about is moi. Bitch, yeah, that was me. Remember that brawler, that bar brawler?
Now that Britain done got herself a title, now she wants to fight Britain again for that belt. I'm like, we're playing this game. We're gonna go chase a second title right now.
She cannot make 115. If she makes 115, she'll get smoked. When I fought her, she was way bigger than me. Imagine what will happen to her if she makes 115. I don't want her to do it because I don't want her to lose. I want Christine to beat everybody because I want to be that one. I'm always rooting for her. My asshole tightens when she's fighting because I don't want anybody to hurt her. I don't want anybody to hurt her. I want to win all her fights. If I could be there to defend her, I will do that physically, okay? I want Christine to win all her fight. Every time she looks at that one, I want her to dream about me. That's me, bitch. Until you fight me and you beat me, you're the second best bare knuckle fighter in the world. Enjoy your fucking title. Next topic, please.
Yes, let's go to PFL because that's obviously what's important, what's on the plate, and what's next. PFL, and I got to give mad props to PFL.
America now.
My girl Amanda Levy last week, so definitely got to give my props to them for that one. Love what they're doing and bring in a lot more of the female division in. What made you obviously they showed interest, but what made you say PFL is kind of going to be part of the next chapter of your career?
Well, I had a few offers. There was this one promotion that I really want to fight for, but I didn't like the contract they were giving me. But as a loser from the Ultimate Fighter, I can see why they offered me that. So whatever, I turned that down, which was a big thing because I shouldn't have, because I'm supposed to want to be in the UFC or whatever. That's what people think. People really think the UFC is it. I have never been happier I'm not signed with the UFC because now PFL, when I win this fight, or if I win, let's say if I win this fight, let's be a little insecure. If I win this fight and I'm good enough, I enter a tournament where I can make $1 million motherfucking dollars by the end of 2024. And that is more money than 95 or even more % of UFC fighters make in the entire career with the UFC.
I think
that's why I signed it.
I think that's a big reason we also seen Shane Burgo leave the UFC, because you guys are betting on yourselves. Like, I not only am I confident I can get in this, but I'm confident I can win this tournament. And not only that, I'll be able to get $1 million check at the end of this, on top of my fight purses on the handful of fights getting up to that. That's what also people tend to forget. The UFC lost. I think the UFC lost a lot of the things when they completely. We're not going to do the tournaments thing ever again. Stupidest thing they could ever did, because not only does PFL do ones like that, obviously Bellator does one. We see ONE FC. Like, everyone has a version of it, but the UFC is the greatest, right? No, It's not. They've been falling off a lot since they sold Zuffa. Since the Fertitta brothers left, they became a corporate entity. They stopped becoming the UFC. Oh, you got to throw that up
100%.
there, Eddie.
So
But
it's
most
funny.
people don't realize that. They just think like a lot of people are like, did you make it to the UFC? Did you sign with the UFC? I'm like,
I've watched this
understand.
promotion change multiple times over its iteration. I remember watching the tapes when I was a kid. I remember watching Ken Shamrock go from the UFC to onto my TV screen on being a WWF superstar. It would none of it. Like, I remember growing up with that early age of it. You've seen what happens as it goes and becomes other things. There's good things, there's bad things, and we're obviously seeing things over the last 20 years, knowing that there are bad sides of the promotional side of the UFC. You've seen Randy Couture, you've seen other people do things. What's happened in over the past year with Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
His basic thing were some of the things that you're sitting there talking about. That
And you know what?
Representation, sponsor. Like, there's so many different things that we know that aren't on par on what should be for what these athletes should be getting on what they get as a promotion, as a promoter.
I'll go back 7 years interviewing Justin Gaethje before he got into the UFC. And one part of our interview, I was like, you're a big star now. What are you thinking about signing with the UFC? He says, listen, man, the UFC is not the best in the world when it comes to MMA. I'm looking for where the money is. And right now, World Series of Fighting back then. World Series of Fighting,
that's PFL now.
And that's what Helen's saying. PFL now, when they started, Steve, Helen, we were all kind of at the edge of our seats, like, is this going to work out? 2023, it's working out. We have Jake
100%.
Paul in there now as well, and Helen's on the same skid where Jake Paul. You're gonna have all these new fans, all these young girls, and Helen, you're gonna be an idol for a lot of young girls out there. PFL is gonna be huge in 2023.
And even beyond PFL, the fact that we no longer have a monopoly should be something everybody should be celebrating. As a fan, if you care about your fighter, you'll be celebrating the fact that it's no longer a monopoly. As a fighter, you should definitely be over the fucking hill, knowing it's no longer a monopoly. This is an amazing new, and that's why I was like, you know what? If I had to pick a route, if I go to the UFC right now, what are the fights I'm gonna get? I'm gonna get all of their Olympic wrestlers that are younger than me, that show their tits on social media because that's what they like to promote. I don't do any of that stuff. I keep my clothes on all the time. That thing, what I did with the tape, it was supposed to be sarcastic, but nobody fucking get it until the last minute. And it was supposed to be a diss to the fact that a lot of people who work for Disney are fighting legal battles for pedophilia, but they pay so much money to hide it that we don't see in the news. Instead, people get distracted. We're like, oh, Will Smith is sad. Someone's tits came out in an interview. A celebrity farted, and now it's going viral. When you're missing what really fucking matters. These motherfuckers are literally snatching kids on the street, and nobody says shit about it. Yeah. So when I brought it up, I even got told for this fight, like, hey, ESPN is owned by Disney. I'm like, yeah, don't do the fuck Disney thing. I get it. I'll keep my clothes on. It wasn't even about me showing my tits because I don't have tits. It was something else, but nobody fucking got it. So the mass consciousness is just like mass diarrhea. They just go for whatever is going on, and it's so easy to manipulate. So no, I'm not doing it again. You know why? Because it's a waste of my fucking energy. Because people are so fucking stupid.
We're a sad generation with happy pictures, and
a lot of good technology.
Yeah. Well, no,
it's a waste of technology.
Of the good things PFL's doing. The rumor is that Jake Paul will be making his MMA debut, and it will be for PFL MMA.
That would be kind of cool. I actually do like Jake Paul a lot, and I know some people have their thoughts.
Jake Paul. No.
Listen, here's the
crazy
thing.
I love his approach. It's
next fight, he's gonna get his WBC ranking if he wins this next fight.
But not only that, imagine that, like, people were so outraged. Even when I was just doing MMA before I started doing boxing, people were like, oh, he doesn't even know how to box and he's making millions. I'm like, I barely know how to box. I want to make millions. I'm following this guy. What are you talking about?
I mean,
if you can figure out how to do it.
The lines of it, I think, is I guess a lot of the people who know how you go about it and watch how everyone goes about it, and this is how you're supposed to go about things, and just see like him kind of cut some of these lines, and then even into the sense when you go and look at my biggest gripe with him still to right now is the guys that he's fighting. Like, all right, Jake fights at like 200 pounds, right? But you've been fighting guys who were typically welterweights, like all right, Ben Askren,
smart,
170-pound fighter who basically just came off a hip surgery. So you're fighting a guy on one leg. Then you have Tyron.
That's very smart.
Much higher up on the food chain, but Tyron Woodley literally had one punch in his arsenal, which was the overhand. If he couldn't hit you with the overhand, then he hit you with his wrestling. Jake, it took him two fights to finally figure out how to put Tyron away. It's sad. And then
but it isn't though. When you look at his bank account, it's actually happy. It's not sad, and that's what people are missing. I understand the average. Listen,
put that in my bank account.
Listen, last time we talked about Jake, we had the same situation going on. We were talking over each other. But I'll tell you what. You know what I was doing last night? I'm kind of tired. I'm drinking this. It's just kombucha, but it's supposed to keep me awake for a little longer, whatever, because I'm trying not to do any chemicals. And my body is a temple kind of bullshit until next Friday. Next Friday, after my fight, I'm going to light that fucking temple on fire. But for now, my body is a temple.
He's like, I want to party, bitches.
Oh. Party is got nothing to do with me. But you know what I've been doing? I have been doing DoorDash for 12, 13, 14 hours a fucking day so that I can pay for shit. If I could just have the power to know how Jake Paul does the fact that he's fighting nobodies and making millions, that's a skill. So instead of criticizing it, I try to learn from it. I follow the guy. I pay attention. I don't criticize it for 1 minute. I think it's fucking genius.
Listen, my only critics were some of his.
Is that DoorDash in there, bro?
He's doing it too.
$100 a day, bro. Like, come on, bro. DoorDash, Instacart. Yo, I got my Instacart necklace on right now.
I'm doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. I'm multi-apping. I signed up for Grubhub, and I've just been delivering people's food when I'm supposed to be resting because I have no money. But if I have the skills that Jake Paul has to be able to fight people who cannot beat him and make millions. That's not something to criticize. That's something to admire. But I know why people criticize it because we work so hard and we have nothing. I have nothing. I have not made $1 out of MMA. It's just this one thing where every time I fight, I get refunded for some of my expenses. That's how I look at it.
Wait. Open
and that's why we're going to PFL. You're betting on yourself at this point in time, right?
It says a customer has reported that their order never arrived.
Oh my God, I almost fought a customer because of that. I went back. I'm like, bitch, I handed that thing to your own hands. They're like, I didn't. I'm like, no, you did. And then DoorDash called me and they told me fighting the customer is out of the policy and you can be legally, you can be criminally persecuted. And I was like, well, that's a dumb fucking
right, because I didn't give you cookies.
Just a scammer.
So this is what it says to me. I was extremely late, 23 minutes late to get to the store. But when I got to the store, the cookies weren't even ready. No,
I get it, bro. I've been like losing my shit for weeks.
DoorDash.
Yeah, oh my God, it was one time I took this order, right? It was a stack order. So I go, you have 2 places to go to. So I go deliver the first one, and I'm going to be early for both. I'm always 20 to 25 minutes early.
Doing DoorDash, yo.
So I'm driving the first order, and somebody calls me. So I pick it up because after 10 p.m., everybody's blocked on my phone. That's how I live my life. But this call went through, so I thought it was someone close to me, like someone important. But it's because I unblocked DoorDash, so the customer was able to get through. So I pick it up thinking it's somebody like close to me, a family member. And I pick it up, and I hear saying like, where's my food? I'm like, excuse, who is this? He goes, you have my food. Can you just hurry up? I'm like, oh, I guess I can use the $5 tip to pay for all my fucking traffic ticket. Click. And then I deliver the first food, and then I thought to myself, Helen, just let it go. You know, you're working, trying to do this thing so you can support. I'm sponsoring myself, blah, blah, blah. I let it go for like 20 minutes. But when I'm getting ready to get to this guy's house, I'm thinking it's going to be the ghetto because he had no manners. I'm going to a place where there's a bunch of castles. So this is a very affluent neighborhood, and he should fucking know better. So as I'm driving in, I'm like, this is not the ghetto like I thought it would be, right? So I get out of my car with the food, and it says, hand it to me, right? So you have to handle the food to the customer. So when I get there, I call the customer, like, hey, your food is here. He goes, just leave it in the porch. I'm like, nah, it says hand it to me. So I had to hand it to you. He goes, nah, just leave it in the porch. I'm like, nah, bro, you're starving, right? You got to come get this food. He goes, just leave it in the porch, man. I'm like, nah, if you want your fucking food, you got to come get this work.
So Helen gets out the car. She's all.
No, because my name is Helen. What are you expecting when you see Helen? You're expecting an elderly white lady. Now he's got a black girl, angry, who happens to be a professional fighter in front of his door, telling him to come get his food. I can see all the cameras moving and buffering. You can see when the cameras are zooming in the expensive houses, they start like rotating, and you can see it change color from blue to purple. So I can see that he's just zooming into me, and I'm just standing there with this bag of chicken wings. I'm like, nah, if you want your food, you better come get this work.
Yeah, yo, oh my God, bro. That is so good. That is so good, man.
Then I left it there. Because I'm like, these people have too much money. I'll get sued, and I'm a professional fighter. I wasn't gonna beat him up. I just wanted to mess with him. But I think he didn't come out. He's like, just leave it in the porch, man.
Yo, Steve, imagine Helen showing up, and you call thinking it's a little white woman, and you're just like, "Where's my food? Hurry up!" And then she shows up.
Listen. When you do stuff like that, you do stupid stuff. You get stupid prizes, man. I live in Philly. I'm in Philly. If you gonna go there, you either gonna get what you get coming, or somebody gonna get the end of your wrath.
When Helen, that was rude. I was early to him, but he saw that the food I was delivering to someone else before him, so he decided to call me because he's an entitled little bitch. It's like, it's not even like you accomplish anything. Your parents are making sure you're not get punched in the face. That's the only reason why you still have teeth, you asshole. It's because your parents pay for you to be able to have teeth. Because otherwise, somebody else would have already knocked him out because you have no fucking respect for humanity.
When Helen shows up at your door, dash. That's what it is.
No, I'm actually very friendly, and I'm very nice because I'm a professional chef. And I believe in energy. So when I deliver people's food, I make sure I wrap it properly. I only take orders that pay enough so I don't have to rush, because I don't like throwing people's food so I can go make another delivery. I respect food to a lot. So when this guy calls me, I'm like, I know I'm going to be 20 minutes early to him. I try to be late, and I was still 5 minutes early. I purposely tried to be late after he called me, and I couldn't even be late because I was already so far ahead. So I was like, nah, man, he's going to have to face me. I'm like, nah, you got to come get this food, bro. He's like, just leave it in the porch. And then when I heard him almost cry, that's when I left, because I'm like, oh, shit, I can be sued because these people have money. So I put it down. I said on the phone, not through message, like, just know that I know where you live. I better not get a bad review. Click.
Yo, that is awesome. That's probably, I think that's probably one of our funniest stories that we've ever gotten out. I mean, we've got some funny stories out here. I thought that I think that'd probably be the top of the list, the DoorDash story. Gotta love that one.
Yo,
but now you got a lot of stuff going on with PFL. PFL's been doing a lot of big things. Obviously, we're you got the contract. Hopefully we can get Helen that $1 million check. Yo. Get her that big old paper check she can hang up on her wall. Like,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with $1 million? What are you gonna do with it?
The first thing I'm gonna purchase, you mean?
Yeah.
I hate that whole purpose. I hate that part. I wish by the end of 2023 they will get rid of that part where they take a picture with a giant check, because I don't want to have that many family members. All the ones that are gonna come up when they see the fucking picture. Not the one that are supporting me now, because right now I'm door dashing in the middle of the night when I should be getting some rest because I'm a professional athlete, right? So while don't have any of that, that little picture with the stupid fucking paper check, it's just gonna get me a lot of family that I don't want. I want to have the same amount of family members I have today, which is pretty much 0. But then after that picture, then I'm going to have cousins and friends and sisters. It's just going to be crazy. So, but the first thing I'm gonna purchase is gonna blow your fucking mind.
Yo, imagine being the guy that ordered the food from Helen that yelled at her.
She
and
said
then
she's a
turning on
chef.
your
I wouldn't be
TV.
surprised if she would get like herself her own food truck so she could make her own money by making food.
Nah, I'm not making any food. I hate people. People entitled little assholes. I can't cook for you. You don't deserve it.
America.
I'm gonna cook for other fighters though. But that's
America.
a different business. The first thing I'm gonna purchase is the Buick Park Avenue 2005 because I love the way that thing drives, man. And then I'm gonna invest in some things like having like good housing, like kind of like almost like Airbnb but more affordable, close to big gyms, big camps for fighters. Like the shit I don't have that can pay for itself if it was available. So it's not gonna be like shattery because I will be getting something back. It won't be a big markup because I'm not really trying to make money out of it. I'm just trying to keep the money, doing something for itself.
So let me ask you this though, like you get the check, right? Then you have to walk home with the giant check. Like what happens after these people get that check?
I would give it back to Bellator, but like you have to mail this to me.
Yeah.
No, I'll give it back to them and I'll tell them you need to get rid of the stupid fucking criteria because it's just not good. It's not good for the fighter to take a picture with a check that says $1 million. It's just not good for you at all in any way, shape, or form. You don't want people to know your money.
Well,
I hate that picture. That's the only thing I don't like about the tournament. It's the stupid picture at the end.
I've been backstage at Madison Square Garden for the $1 million, and they have every single check written out already, no matter if you win or lose. So I was backstage. I saw about $10 million in giant checks.
And now you can go to a bank and cash it.
Bro, imagine me just running out with fucking 10 giant checks, bro. MSG.
Go knocking the fighter out like, you're coming with me. We're going to the bank.
I hope they get rid of that. That's stupid. You don't want people to know your money. I don't want to take a picture with a stupid check. If I can opt that out of it, I will. I think it's dumb.
Let me ask you this, Helen. On a serious note, on the most important MMA news of the week, we got to get you in on this. Were you aware that you can get an IV now? I thought it was banned, right, Steve? You can get an IV after you cut weight.
Knew you could get up to certain milliliter, but
100 milliliters, unless they give you more. Apparently, is what.
Unless you're dying, yeah. Well, I knew it was being done. I was very aware. I know there's a lot of cheaters in this industry, and it depends on who your manager is. And if your manager is Ali, you're getting a lot more than just a fucking IV. I'll tell you that.
So here we go.
I know all of this stuff. I pay a lot of attention. I don't speak much and I don't say much, and people assume that fighters are stupid. I spend a lot of time doing research. When I'm driving, I do a lot of driving. I don't even listen to just music. I listen to things I'm interested in. I'm always trying to be better at what I'm doing. I'm DoorDashing. You know what? I started DoorDashing like 4 weeks ago. I already watched over 200 hours of research on how to do it from other people who do it, from the company points of view. That's just the way I am. Everything that I do, I want to be one of the best at it. I don't know how to do anything less than that, which is probably why I don't get that much sleep, because my brain is constantly going.
My whole freaking YouTube watch history is the exact same thing. Tips on how to do this. But going back to that, let me just read what went down here. Here's Ali Abdallah's tweet.
I saw the whole thing.
For all those idiots out there, any fighter under the UFC banner.
He's the idiot, though.
That's what I'm saying. He deletes this tweet at the end.
He snitched on himself. He's literally a snitch on himself.
For our audio listeners.
For our audio listeners right here, fighters under the UFC banner can take 2 to 3 liters of IV as long as it's done by a nurse or professional. Next week, I'm going to expose everybody. Islam Makhachev is the pound for
pound king.
And this is all he's crying about. He's crying for an imaginary rankings list. You getting your fighter in some BS over an imaginary rankings list.
Oh my God.
And now the fight's being investigated because you're crying over an imaginary rankings list. If I'm Islam right now, I'm pulling off to the side and I'm pulling a paddle out and I'm beating him until I feel satisfied. Because no one was going to say anything about this until I.
And you know what that tells me, right? That obviously tells you that for as long as he's been operating, if he posted that because he believed it. That's why he's calling everyone else an idiot. So that tells you that his fighters are getting 2 to 3 IVs every time after every single fucking fight, and it's been going on for years.
And so for us, and I'm sure a lot of the fighters out there, they thought this was illegal. Now, here's what Ariel Helwani had to say in response. Yes, he deleted it because somebody, I would think, told him he was incriminating himself with this tweet. You can take 2 to 3 liters by professional or not. It's 100 milliliters per 12 hours. Among other details, massive difference. Now, Brett Okamoto comes back and he says, I sought further clarification here. The bottom line, if an athlete is administered an IV more than the permitted 100 milliliters, as long as it's done by a licensed pro, it is not a violation, even in cases where dehydration caused by weight cut is the issue being treated. In other words, IVs used to treat severe dehydration caused by cutting weight are not really banned as long as the physician is the one to justify and perform it.
As long as you have the right people behind you, pretty much. So if you have Ali as a manager who has that much power over the UFC, you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want. That's pretty much what that means. You can do steroids, certain kinds. They create it for your specific body. I don't know what they call that company that does that. And then you can do whatever the fuck you want. They'll just bury it. They'll change all the rules just to make sure Ali doesn't look bad.
I mean,
fuck that.
What was it, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago? They got rid of it. I think they even got rid of the one. I remember Season Ultimate Fighter. There was a fighter that was like, listen, I do rehydration up my butt. He puts like, they pump stuff.
Enema.
It is like an enema, but it's
a colonic.
Steve knows.
Yeah.
Colonic.
The colonic to help him lose weight.
That was on the Ultimate Fighter. That was the Gabe Rudiger episode. Never forget that. It was hilarious.
So you know,
and he still missed weight. That's what everyone forgets about that one. He still missed weight.
The colonic was supposed to extract stuff from his. I do that with coffee though. Sometimes I did that a couple of times in amateur. My first few fights at 115. You put coffee and water up your butt, and then it cleans you out, and it gives you energy, so you don't feel like you need to eat. So it was easy to make 115.
I'll put a bottle of liquor up my butt and do a handstand.
Whoa. Okay. Was it the actual bottle or the imported in something else? Did you put the actual bottle in it?
No, wait. Now you said you're gonna let loose after this fight. What are some of the typical things like after you have long fight camp that you do to kind of unwind before you get back to the grind?
The first thing I just love to eat, man. Like that's my biggest addiction. Like people have all planned, like for me, it's mostly stuff that I eat, like pussy and lots of carbohydrates. That's just the two things that I really like to do that I stay away from when I'm doing camp because I want my body to be a temple and I want to stay hungry. Like my coach thinks you got to stay hungry. I'm like, all right, I'm a hazard right now walking around like this, but fine.
Now, obviously, Kayla Harrison's obviously the biggest name in PFL. Do you feel like she's going to continue to stay here the next few years, or she's going to jump ship and try to see what money she can make in the UFC? Or do you think because she's an Ali fighter, that's where she's going to wind up being anyways?
I mean, it depends on what she's trying to do. If you're doing it for someone else and you want the name and recognition, you should go to the UFC because that's where the best fighters are. But then she will have to lose more weight, and I don't know how well she would do after she drops down. She has to drop at least to 145 to even make it to the UFC, and now she fights at 155. To even get in the UFC, she have to drop to 145, and that's not even a very busy weight class. So if she really wants to really fight for the UFC, she'll have to fight for 135. So that's a lot to ask.
Your weight class, yep.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask for one person. But if you want to keep making that money and just smooth selling, I would say stay with PFL. You make $1 million every year, bro. These UFC fighters are making pennies. It depends on which you want to go.
It'll take her 4 fights or more to make that if she tries to go to the UFC. So I don't really see why. I wouldn't entertain it. I don't know why anyone even asked her about the UFC at this point in time, unless it's something that she brings up to the table.
Well, she was about to go to the UFC. Remember, she was cage side for the Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena fight, the original fight.
And they were gonna do a catch weight at 50.
Yeah, that was the real thing.
Remember, they weren't gonna fight at 45. They were gonna fight at a catch weight.
like
And
a
it wasn't even-
spectacle,
and it
not
wasn't
like
even gonna
someone
be
that's going
for
to
a
be there.
title. So like they were gonna do the pseudo same thing that they did to Chris Cyborg, make an imaginary weight class for this person, sign a bunch of girls that they had no long-term commitment to, and then whenever this girl decided she was gonna done and they were gonna let all these girls go. There's no reason for us to even entertain this for a promotional standpoint to a professional standpoint, because it doesn't end well for anyone outside of the top handful of girls they pick when that thing goes down. Does anyone
Unless you're
remember
trying
what
to do
happened
a
when they brought-
one-off.
Does anyone remember what happened when they brought 45 over to UFC? Where
Yep.
are those girls now? How many are still in the UFC?
Not many of
How
them.
many of them were like, I remember telling people, I'm like, the easiest way to go to the UFC is just to go to 145. They just like, come on, anybody, just please come in. We have nobody here. And most of those girls, like, they were brought there too soon because they just needed to fill in the spot. And they got beat up so badly that most of them are retired right now.
Well, remember the very first fight. Who was that took that beating? She trains with the Diaz Bros.
Who was that one that took that beating?
I can't even remember, but
It was Leslie Smith.
Leslie Smith taking that.
Yeah.
And then you had Jermaine Durandamy. Jermaine Durandamy was the one in the inaugural against Holly Holm. And me and Steve actually interviewed her right before that inaugural fight against Holly Holm. And
Jermaine was one of the underestimated ones. She's a really good Muay Thai fighter.
Nothing
ever
has
her
come
striking
from
is badass.
Nothing ever came of 145. Everything fell apart.
Can you imagine if Miriam Nakamoto never blew her knees out as many times she did? She would have been a monster at 145 too.
Here's who is the big girl that trains with Cyborg too? She wouldn't make 145, but who's the big girl? She fights over at prison.
What, the huge one?
Oh, you're talking about Gabby Garcia?
No way. No, what is this, bro? Stop it.
I was talking about PFL. My girl Amanda Levy destroyed her. Destroyed
the
her.
little girl, yeah.
Amanda.
But that was
Go on.
And she was
trash Gabby. It was hilarious.
Yeah, 145 just absolutely fell apart. And yeah,
but it's one of these things. It's irrelevant to talk about. That she should stay exactly there. The money's good.
There's no reason for Kayla to come over.
Like one or two.
I think she should stay there. That's what I would do. I would stay there.
Listen, ain't no one. They know that she knows that they're not going to bring anyone in. That's actually going to threaten her. And she is one of their star attractions, and they will protect that.
Bellator, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do something with PFL.
Now, see, that would be interesting to see, like a PFL Bellator versus.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Actually, do a fun tournament that we should have seen with UFC and anyone over the last 10, 15 years that they've had it. I still say the tournament is lost. Its thing with Davis basically says that's what he has with the Ultimate Fighter, which it's not. It's nonsense.
Oh, speaking of Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler is going to be Ultimate Fighter season 31. Just getting that out.
Conor McGregor already got someone thrown off the Ultimate Fighter, so one of his buddies can be on that season.
Bravo. But getting back to
it's always like that. It's all about who you know. Your skills don't matter when it comes to this kind of stuff. And that's why I'm so glad I'm not there. I've never been so happy to not be a UFC fighter. It's just amazing.
Well, no, like it's like we've talked about it, Helen. It's different for everyone. Like it all depends on who you are, where you are in your career,
and who you know.
Yeah.
And who you know, like same thing with the last season. There were some people there that didn't quite needed to be there, but it's just who you know, who you know.
But also sometimes just because you didn't make it there doesn't that necessarily mean that's a bad thing or that's where you're meant to be. There's there's so many different avenues in combat sports now. I've been sitting there saying it for a few years now. Really looking forward to what the next 5 years bring, because we're already getting more parity in combat sports as it is in general. Can't imagine what's going to happen when more of these people just finally say they have enough of it and you actually get parity. Not just where the UFC are basically cherry picking the top 10 athletes all over the world. And, the rest of the combat sports world, MMA world, had just left the pick with the rest. That's not how it is. I'm glad that there is a paradigm shift in what we've seen in the combat sports world. PFL has morphed and changed with the sport as they have as a promotion. Bellator has done a great job. I continue to hope bare knuckle boxing, both BKFC, BYB, whether it be here, whether it be in the States, I want to continue to hope they continue to get it sanctioned throughout the States and get to see them promote in other places and things of that nature. I hope the overall of combat sports continue to grow over the next few years. If you had a prediction that something you would see happen or you would like to see happen in combat sports, either before you retire or as you leave the sport, what would you like to see change?
Judging.
I wish that you didn't know who you're fighting until you just show up. Imagine this. You have 20, let's say you have 10 people like from each weight class, or maybe 2 different weight classes, and you all know you're going to be in there. So you have pretty much kind of an idea of who's going to be in this, in this pot, right? And then when it's time to go fight, you just go, okay, Holland, you walk in, and then you go back there, you tell someone else to walk in, and you have cameras going back and forth between the 2 people walking. They're trying to pick in to see who they're fighting. Like, that's going to make a fucking difference. But anyways, at the end, you just meet in the octagon, and now that's who you're fighting. I think it will be amazing. I think it will make fighters a lot better because they won't spend a whole training camp preparing to block the overhand or block the head kick or stop the double leg takedown. You will have to just train to be better everywhere. We'll have so much better fighters. It'll be so exciting. So intense. Just the walk to the cage, you see them trying to figure out who am I fighting. You just don't know. And then by the time you just meet in the middle, and that's what you're fighting. I think that would be amazing. I would love to be part of something like that.
That's like your DoorDash guy calling you and then you show up.
He wasn't the only one. My best one was one day that there was a storm and nobody's driving, right? So this order keeps getting passed on because I don't know where I am. I just moved to Rockford, so I don't know where anything is. So I guess this order, everybody who lived there knows, is going to a place that you shouldn't go because it's an elitist town, neighborhood, which means there's no businesses there. Where all the rich people are, there's no McDonald's and all these things around there. There's nothing else there, right? They live in places where there's nothing else around them. It's in the middle of a storm, so I pick up this order. The moment I picked it up and I accepted it, I get a phone call. So, where's my food? And I'm like, rude. I'm like, I don't understand who is it. It was you supposed. I ordered an hour ago. And I'm like, I got this order less than 30 seconds ago, and then you call me. He goes, I'm not stupid. I ordered an hour ago. I'm like, sir, that's not how it works. But he keeps going, so I'm like, click, because I need a GPS. So I hang up on him so I can go. So I go get the food. And I start driving, and I realize I'm going uphill, downhill. It's so frozen. I have a Nissan Coupe front-wheel drive. I don't even know if I'm going to make it back home. But I'm a fighter. I'm like, it looked like a challenge. I'm like, I'm going to fucking complete this challenge. So I'm like, I'm going to make it where I'm going. So I'm like, this is not safe at all. The car is doing all sorts of things in this roller coaster. Then I get up there, that hill. It's like a castle. So I get up there, and the snow is so high because it's been snowing for 2 days. Every time I take a step, I'm wearing a snow boot. There's snow going inside my shoes that I can feel it getting frozen. So I get on the way to the door, and there's the guy that I just hang up with. And he goes, it's a beautiful home. And he goes, oh, I want to apologize about earlier. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. I'm a professional chef, and I worked fine dining for 5 years. So he thought I was trying to impress him. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know I don't give a shit. So he thought I was trying to impress him with I work fine dining as a professional chef. And he goes, but what does that have to do with anything? And I said, it means that I have a lot of experience dealing with entitled assholes like yourself. I'm still holding on to the food. Nobody's ever called him an asshole. He owns half of fucking Rockford, Illinois. So he's looking at me, but I'm still holding on to the food. You decide if you want to eat, bitch. So then he goes and reach out. He goes, thank you. Thank you couldn't come out of his fucking mouth. And I handed up to him and said, you're welcome. Have a good night, Your Majesty. On my way back, I didn't care if I died because I was like, my job on planet Earth is finished. I did what I was sent to Earth to do. It was just to tell this guy that he's a piece of shit because I don't work for him. What the fuck are you going to do? Why are you so mad? You live in a fucking castle. Fuck you. I'm driving DoorDash for $10 in the middle of a fucking blizzard. Fuck you. I don't care. It's a blizzard. What is wrong with you?
Oh my God. Before I delivered a pizza, the guy gave me $3 and I thought he was gonna give me a cash tip. No cash tip. But let me ask you something really important here. I got two more questions before we let you go here. Number one, what's up with this icon that you use on Twitter, Instagram? What is this from?
That is me. Well, I am part
That is
of
you.
Tribe. Yeah, it is me. I'm part of Tribe.
What is that?
It's a community for fighters connect. So well, not just fighter. We have different kind of people, different relationship, and we kind of just support each other across social media because my tits are small. So I'm looking for other ways to do that. And I picked the fighter, the Celtic fighter style because that's kind of what I am, kind of like a brawler, someone that will fight anybody and will fight for everything that they got. And the sunglasses, I'm always wearing sunglasses in regular life anyway, and I fight like an ape. So I thought it was like very fitting. Ask Misfit, I'm just a brawler that fights like an ape. It works though. It works though.
So
If you don't believe me, ask that big one next to her record.
So yeah, the big one.
One loss.
Oh man, that's so good. That's so good.
I'm sorry.
Oh man,
this thing actually working. My mind is raising.
My cheeks
Whatever
hurt.
this is.
Yo, my cheeks legit hurt from this interview right here.
man.
Helen, we got to ask another question. One last question here. We're doing something with sports cards, right? How would you think MMA sports cards would do for PFL? Wouldn't you like your own?
Oh man, dude, you were just breathing through my brain there, dude. I've been sitting there saying that for weeks. That outside of the UFC, none of the major sports card companies does anything with not Bellator, not bare knuckle boxing, not nothing, not even boxing really, which is a shame. Like outside of the few superstars that boxing has, you don't really like if you go on eBay or Amazon or whatever and Google like signed boxing cards, you're not gonna get anything out of like Mike Tyson or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
not like
crazy, right?
baseball where every good major
Well, no,
player has
it's like football, like baseball, basketball's really I mean, hockey's there, but it's like it's kind of what it is. It's like the extra part that no one really cares
MMA on ice.
Oh my god! We all know we got that. We already got that. Chris Terrian's a part of that. They literally have like instead of having like a hockey thing, it's like all right, you're in your hockey thing, but we're just gonna fight.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they do anyways every time I look at it. I think it'll be really cool,
Well,
but
no,
I
mean
think
they pretty much got away from that in the late 80s. They don't really fight as much. They've gone away from that.
Oh,
But,
really?
yeah.
I haven't noticed. I don't watch
Yeah.
that sport, so I haven't noticed that.
But yeah, don't you think like Upper Deck, all these other companies, they should probably look into making more sports cards for them to kind of, regardless if something the promotion does or whatever, just something for I guess fans to find more ways to connect with the athlete, more ways for the athlete to have a way to I guess sell themselves in a way.
100%. I think having a sports card is like going to a face-off or an interview and telling your opponent that you're going to beat the shit out of them. It requires confidence. And because the UFC has been the kind of a monopoly for a while, I guess all the promotions, they feel like they could just do that. But they don't do it because they don't want to fall short. The same reason why so many people act so humble before the fight, because if they fall short, they don't want to look bad. So there's some of that going on. But now that we're seeing a lot more promotions coming through, a lot of fighters choosing to go other places besides the UFC and better payouts in other communities besides the UFC and getting the same kind of recognition you would in the UFC for fighting for the promotion, I see that coming within the next year, maybe 18 months. You'll see some of that. Even video games too.
I got one more.
We definitely need some PFL or someone to come up with it with even doing a multiple platform game like a combat sports game where it's not just MMA. You could have boxers in it. You could have MMA fighters. You
Like
could have
Vendetta or some shit. But all right. Helen, this is really important for Combat Deviants, Belly Up Sports, me and Steve, what we're trying to do moving in 2023. You being with PFL, I know they come over to my area a lot over here in New York. Do you think you're going to be over here in New York? Because if you are, I would love to go meet up with you and do a day vlog for the podcast and for Belly Up Sports. Is that
Well, I know then
for 2023?
But my next upcoming fight is in Orlando, Florida. But most of my family live in New York, and I go there sometimes not to train in New York. I train in Philly. So, but my mom lives in New York, so sometimes I stop by there, even though I just want to punch her in the mouth most of the time. But still, I visit. I do my job. I put my hours in. I do my duty. But it's annoying. It's just annoying as fuck. But I'll still visit her. And my sisters are pretty cool, so I might visit her too. But my best training partner and one of the best coaches, like the best chemistry, I would say. I know a lot of really good coaches, but I had really good chemistry with this coach, Martinez BJJ in Philadelphia. That's Will Martinez. I wish I could teleport and train there every single day. And then the best training partner I ever have, her name is Crisada Adames, and she trains there. So, like, if in a perfect world, I will be moving there if I don't get what I want here in the Midwest, because I already given the Midwest too many chances. I met a lot of female fighters, but I need something consistent. I don't train for a fight. I train year-round. Because if something happened, like all this door dashing I've been doing, it doesn't affect me. Look at me, I'm fucking ripped because I don't just train for a fight. I train all the time. And I need someone that can be there with me. And Crisada Adames, she does that for me. And Will Martinez, on our first fight, he was there for my debut at 125. I was just torn my rotator cuff and I couldn't lift my arm. That's why every time I punched the wrestler, my arm would land here. So when she shot, I was right there to defend. And everybody thought it was a good strategy. It wasn't strategy. I had a torn shoulder and we were still able to get the win because of the way we trained together. It was a good chemistry. So yeah, you'll probably see me in New York.
It's like rookie of the year. Your arm just, yeah.
No, every time I punched the girl, my arm would fall here because the rotator cuff was torn. But then every time she went to shoot, I was ready to defend because my arm would always be here. It wasn't on purpose. It was just there was nothing holding it up.
It's rookie of the year in MMA, Steve. You ever see that movie, Helen? Steve?
No.
Rookie of the year. He's a young kid. He turns into a professional pitcher because he messes up his rotator cuff and he pitches mad fast.
I did not see that.
All right, so the base of the movie.
Well, that makes sense though. That's exactly what happened.
So they had him in this wonky thing. It's all casted up. So when he gets out of the cast, all of a sudden he can throw like 107-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, because his arms just fall down like that. That's exactly why I won that fight, because I could not keep my arm up here. It was just fall. There was nothing holding it up. It was crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, so
everybody was complimenting my strategy. I was like, "Oh yeah, great strategy, fucking amazing strategy."
Being injured and just so happens to it helped me out in the fight.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We'll take it as great strategy, though.
But yeah, Helen, I would love to meet up with you if you do come over here to New York. Even if you go to Philly, it's not that far from me at all, and it would be nice to go meet up with Steve as well. So. You got to keep us updated.
I won't mind catching help with Helen next time she goes to Will's.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. Imagine doing a vlog with Helen in New York, going through Chinatown and shit like that.
I will gain 5 pounds if I go to Chinatown. Every time I go there, I lose my shit. I eat so much food. It's not safe for me to be in Chinatown.
Yeah, when I stepped away, I heard you eat more than just food. We
got to find her like a good sushi bar in Philly or something like that.
No, I don't mind traveling, and I don't mind crossing the other to New York. I hate how much they charge you in tolls, though.
Yeah.
To go from New York to Philly, it's insane. It's like $30 one way.
Really?
By the time you're done, you make it to the city. It's like, are you kidding me? I drove.
Then you have to go pay for the food and then go pay for parking.
Well, really quick. When I went to go cover McGregor Mayweather presser at the Barclays Center, it's usually a 90-minute drive out to Brooklyn from here in New Haven. It took 4 hours to get there. So
they drive so badly. I almost got a stroke driving in New York because I drive around I went to Philly for training, but I didn't want to fly in because when I get there, I want to be able to travel around and deliver knuckle sandwiches to any close gym I see, anything that's close by.
Sandwiches,
Yeah, I pack them up at home and I just go deliver them from my car. But so every time I went to New York, they keep charging me so much money, and then people will drive that they've never driven a car before. It's like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah,
like, what are you doing?
Isn't much better. New
Oh my
Jersey
God.
ain't much better.
Yeah,
No.
it was when I went to Atlanta, it was bad going through that New York, Atlanta, fucking Jersey. It was insane. But yeah, Helen, keep us posted. We're so excited. You know what we like to do at this point in the interview? We hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any sponsors, shout outs, enemies, anything at all, the floor is now all yours.
I just want to thank everyone that's got my back up until this point. Everyone is important from the beginning until now. Definitely a special shout out to the ladies at Mad Hatter in Fairfield, Iowa, and to Brian Lee in what's the name of that thing? A Doc's Lounge in Des Moines, Iowa. This guy is like, I don't know if I would have given up on doing this a long time ago. There's no money in it, and I have so many different skills, and I'm so good. I have different careers. I'm a professional chef. I'm an accountant. I have all the things that I could be doing that actually paid you, and I decided to do this thing where I live the life of a starving artist. And then I have a few friends that always have my back, and even the ones that don't support me financially. Just like if you see a flyer or a post that said I'm fighting and you're hoping that I win, I can feel your energy, because even right now I had so many bad things happen in the last few months, but I feel so positive, and I think that energy has got to be coming from somewhere, and I think it's coming from the people who believe in me and the people who know that every time I go out there, I'm going to give it my best no matter what. And I never back down. I never give up. And for those people, whoever you are, even if you never interact with me, I just want to thank you.
That's so awesome, Helen. I mean, literally since we started this podcast, I would have to say, if we did a fan vote, Steve, of who our favorite guest of 2022 was, Helen has to be the top
Really?
guest from 2022.
I
And here we
finally
are,
won something.
2023, hitting it off top. And now we also have a story that we can all follow. All of our listeners have a new favorite fighter to follow a story going over to PFL in 2023. So, Helen, where can we find you on social media?
I'm not very creative, so Helen Peralta 123 on Twitter.
That's her Twitter. Without a doubt, that is her Twitter.
And then 123. Well, I didn't know there were that many Helen alive. I thought they were all dead. I thought it was the last one standing. But apparently, there's some more Helens out there. Facebook, Helen Peralta. Instagram, guess what? Helen Peralta again.
Helen, really quick, did you see the background I made for you? You see that? You got your face on the right hand side.
Oh yeah, and I see the apes. All right.
We got it going on over here.
That's exactly how I fight. I swear to God, I don't know what to do with my body. Like today, I was fighting one of my coaches, Dylan. He's the one that's younger than me. He's really fast. And we were working on something specifically, but then he threw a shot and he landed. I don't know if you can see it. It was on this side, and I have now a sign that I need to work on my defense. The moment he landed, I went off script. I just go crazy. And then he just looked at me like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, I don't know, you hit me. And I just needed to get you back.
Oh man. You know what you need to do is you need to get this necklace, you need to get this outfit and the glasses when you arrive.
Yeah, actually I'm working on the necklace. I just haven't find like there's the end part that screws in. And I haven't had time to go to Walmart, yeah. But I do have the actual bones.
Listen, our podcast has been killing it. I'm sure if any of our listeners out there want to send Helen some necklaces, we'll leave an address down below here. Just send it to the address down below. I'm not going to throw an address out there just yet. But
yeah, just give your address and then you send it to me. I don't need any more creeps.
I want to wish you best of luck doing DoorDash and Instacart, but mostly I want to wish all of your customers safety when they call you, start threatening you.
No, I'm a good DoorDasher. I do my best. Unless you're a cunt or an asshole, then you're gonna get the same back. I'm a mirror. I bash your energy. I'm just a mirror for you.
Thank you so much, Helen. We had such a blast with you tonight, as always, and we really hope to talk to you again really soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Have a good night, guys. I need to eat my salad, which I couldn't eat because I forgot to get utensils. So I'm going to go downstairs. I'm at a hotel room, so I'm going to go downstairs and hope I can find some utensils so I can have my dinner. But it's just salad.
Yeah, eating a
Have
salad.
a good night. Hopefully you get that food in. You appreciate the time as always, Helen. Best of skill in the coming fight. Hopefully we definitely get you on here before the next one.
Sounds good. Good night, guys. Stay safe.
All right, have a good one. Yeah.
Oh man, I love
Helen Peralta, everyone.
I love that, man. My favorite, man. I can't wait to see what 2023.
All right, so Jamie Henshaw won.
Oh,
you have to go and look at the replay because I feel bad for her opponent. She hit that girl so hard, she dislocated her ankle.
No way.
Dead way.
KnuckelMania3 for all of our listeners out there. Use hashtag KnuckleMania3 to see all the latest video. Oh, and guys, we better be on Twitter. That's where it's all rocking. Let's see where. Oh, I see. Oh my God! Look how she just realigns her ankle. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna show the video. Okay.
This is gnarly, dude.
Oh,
it's like it did his patient 60 degrees the wrong way. Yeah, it's hitting that way.
Ouch.
So
look at that.
Amy Henshaw wins another one.
Oh man, wait, hold on. She grabs it
and straightens it right back out without even hesitating.
Yo, she literally just
relocates it herself. Absolutely. That is a bad. It is.
And then, bro.
Yo,
and now she's just standing up. Get out of here, Steve. Get out. And that's when you throw the BKFC logo in there and say, those are our fighters. Wow. Congratulations to Jamie Henshaw, man. She won her last fight by knockout as well.
Yep.
Man, it's a little scrappy girl,
Diego lost via doctor stoppage. He was bleeding all over the place.
So let really quickly.
But unfortunately, Mike Richmond got knocked out. It was a great fight, though.
Really?
I know he dropped Lorenzo. And then Lorenzo
Diego Sanchez
came back and knocked Mike out cold.
Really?
There was like 10 seconds left in the round, and he just pancaked him.
That's one of the hardest things about this sport is watching somebody that, you get to know a little bit and see them go through that, especially in bare knuckle, bro. What did you say about Diego Sanchez? You said that he lost?
Yeah, he lost doctor stoppage. He was bleeding all over the place.
Against Trout.
But the big one, man, was our boy Josh Watson knocking Greg Hardy out cold.
Bro.
He said he's going to put a beating on him.
Poor, and I'll say it one more time. I just can't get behind Greg Hardy coming over to combat sports as, the back end of his punishment to be like, oh, I'm much better now. I'm not a violent person. I can't get behind it, man. So yeah, I'm
not gonna touch on that because I'll just go off on a tangent. Just
what about Dodson? How'd Dodson do?
He won. He got another knockout. He won.
Man, fastest guy in UFC history right there. The Mike Richmond versus Lorenzo Hunt you said was what?
It was a back and forth one, but Hunt got the stoppage. He put Mike away.
Man, imagine you doing DoorDash and that's your customer. We got to get Lorenzo on here, bro.
Yeah, I do want to talk to him. But
what do you guys want to see on Combat Deviants? What do you guys want to see on Combat Deviants? Let us know at Combat Deviants, and Steve will get it done. All right, Steve, you can
try
take
my
it from
best.
here.
I do work some magic. I'll try my best, though.
He's got the magic click.
All right, y'all. Steve, that's going to put a bow on episode 22 here at Combat Deviants. I'm Steve. He's Eddie. Make sure you check out us on all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whether it be Combat Deviants, whether it be Belly Up Sports. Make sure you're hitting those buttons. We got a lot of fun stuff coming for you.
Next week, we'll be discussing John Jones versus Cyril Gain. Don't want to miss it.
Yeah, and speaking of Jones, what do you think about John trying to bury the proverbial hatch with DC?
With DC, I had it all lined up for us too, dude, and I had to delete the photos, bro. I had all those back and forths right there. I love it. We'll discuss it next week, and I really do hope that DC is the commentator because it adds something to the fight with John Jones.
In there with him. You know how he's gonna react to the like DC does have some insight that would be useful.
Yeah,
regardless of if people feel he would be biased or not, and he is biased at times, but typically when he's biased, it's for his teammates.
Yeah, yep, and it's more.
I already said it. If I would do anything, I would make sure that DC doesn't call guys that he generally has personal feelings for. When you put him in that element that he doesn't do that, he is arguably one of the top handful of analyst guys that you have in combat sports, regardless if we're talking MMA or anything, just because Daniel, has such a knowledge in MMA and wrestling and everything else. So,
and he's fun
at times.
Oh, the best one was sports. I love sports. There's DC doing that, and everyone, Joe Rogan's like, "What the hell did you just say?" It's a gif. I gotta send it to you, bro. It's one of the funniest things ever. But yeah, man, we'll discuss that next week along with our personal pound for pound list for 2023. And with that being said, I'm Eviletti. That's Steve. I'm Eddie 2 times. Eddie 2 times. We're gonna do this 2 more times. All right, guys. Behave yourselves.
Two times. Yeah, we'll catch you on the rebound.